So you can see how I got these numbers. Current liabilities would be accounts payable, short-term debt, and other current liabilities. So I'll make this another color. Color's a nice thing, right? They are blue. Adding these up, you get 2,924,700 in 2010 and 2,988,700 in 2009. Non-current liabilities would be these two here. That would be 14,416.3 and 13,202.3. So total liabilities comes out to, if you add these up, 17,341 and 16,191. Oops. Contributed capital is the sum of common stock at par and additional paid-in capital. So that would be these two right here. Starting to run out of colors. Purple. So contributed capital here would be 5,213,000,000 and 4,870.5. So the nice thing about these condensed, these balance sheets, is that it takes a lot of the individual numbers out, which we're not necessarily going to do anything with. Retained earning is 33,811.7, 31,270.8. And then other stockholders' equity is going to be the combination of treasury stock and other right here, these two. So other stockholders' equity, and I actually can't, that's already a color, so, oh, you know what, but I just used it for one thing. I can make it, I can change the color. So other stockholders' equity here would be negative, that's with the parentheses, 24,390.5 and 22,107.4. And then total stockholders' equity is contributed capital plus retained earnings plus other stockholders' equity comes out to 14,634.2 and 14,033.9. So this is what you're classified. What you're it's not classified yet. Well, it's your condensed balance sheet is going to look like. Next, the problem asks us, refer to the classified balance sheet. The assets of this company are primarily financed with what? Actually, I don't need to split the screen anymore. Where are the assets coming from here? Is it debt? Is it retained earnings? Or is it stockholder capital? Retained earnings. Look at retained earnings here. Total stockholders' equity was 752. But the big numbers, the numbers that really stick out at us, are retained earnings. Right there. That's the big number. So therefore, the answer here would be retained earnings. And would we call that internal financing or external financing? Internal. Next thing to do now is the trend analysis. And we talked about this in the last class. Trend analysis would use your first year as the base year and then divide each number by the base year. So for example, 3416.3 divided by 3581.9 gives you 0.95. So my trend would be 95. 4368 divided by 3581.9 is 122. PP&E 22060.6 divided by 20,984.7 is 105. And 21,531.5 divided by 20,984.7 is 103. Goodwill, 2586.1 divided by 2301.1 is 112. And 2425.2 divided by 2301.3 is 105. Other assets, 2960 divided by 2523.8 is 117. And 2851.9 divided by 2523.8 is 103. Do I need to like show how I did each one, or is it pretty obvious from here? Everything gets divided by the base year, and it doesn't get divided by the previous year. So for total assets, I would have 109 in 2010 and 103 in 2009. For current liabilities, I have 65 in 2010 and 66 in 2009. Non-current liabilities, I have 150 in 2010 and 137 in 2009. So total liabilities is 123 in 2010 and 115 in 2009. Contributed capital is 123 and 115. Retained earnings is 128 and 118. Other stockholders' equity is a negative 158 and a negative 143. Or you can look at it, you can look at it as positive also. It doesn't, in fact, in the solution it shows it as negative, but it should really be positive because there's a negative divided by a negative, so that gives you a positive. Anyway, total stockholders' equity is a 96, indicating that it went down, and it was a 92 in 2009. So now going back here, refer to the trend index. At the end of 2008, assets were above or below the base year. Well, the trend analysis for assets was a 97. There you can see it, 97. So that means that total assets went down. And that indicates that the economy is recovering or it's poor. Poor? When does McDonald's do well? When people have a lot of money or when people have a little money? So how do you think McDonald's would perform in relation to the economy? In reverse? I don't know, I just thought of that. It's kind of cute, right? But it would indicate that you have a poor economy, that it's just not selling enough cheeseburgers. An indication of a poor economy, I'm sorry, I circled the wrong thing here. While at the end of 2010, assets were above, see there, assets are all the way at 109. So that would generally indicate to you that the economy is recovering. Since the base year, total assets increased by, well, you have a trend analysis of 109. So what was the percentage increase? 9%. And what happened to total liabilities? Total liabilities, you had an increase to one with an index of 123. Look at this. Right there, see that? 123. So total liabilities increased 123 was the index. So what was the percentage increase? 23%. How about total stockholders' equity? Total stockholders' equity had an index after 3 years of 96, meaning what happened to total stockholders' equity? It decreased. So total stockholders' equity decreased by what percentage? This is a trick. 4%, right? Because if it's 96, that means it went down by 4 from 100. indicating a greater reliance on debt, because debt is going up and equity is going down. The company is borrowing more money. Smile, man. What happens meanwhile to current liabilities? Current liabilities decreased all the way down to 65. So current liabilities decreased by what percentage? If the trend index was 65, what was the decrease? 35%. See, you're probably thinking to yourself, this doesn't seem so hard. It's got to get harder. It's really going to nail us on the test. It's going to give us like this kind of stuff, right? I don't know what I'm going to give you. I have to write it. Well, non-current liabilities increase. They majorly increase. Look at this. They have a trend index there of 150. So non-current liabilities increased by 50%. Trend index of 150 means it increased by 50%, indicating a greater or lesser reliance on long-term financing. Much greater reliance on long-term financing. And how about retained earnings? Profits kept inside the company is way up. It's 128 is your index. So retained earnings increased by 28%. And why would retained earnings increase? Purchasing additional assets, acquiring other companies, or reporting net income. Profits that were not distributed as retained or as dividends. Remember, that's what retained earnings is. It's profits not distributed as dividends. For 2009 and 2010, compute the current ratio and the debt ratio. So here you have the format here. The current ratio is current assets divided by current liabilities, i.e. 4368.5 divided by 2924.7. So current ratio 4368.5 divided by 2924.7 gives you 1.49. And in 2009, 3416.3 divided by 2988.7 gives you 1.14. The debt ratio would be total liabilities divided by total assets. So total liabilities here is 17,341. Total assets is 31,975.2, and that comes out to be 54%. Whereas in 2009, total liabilities is 16,191. Total assets is 30,224.9. So it comes out also to be 54%. So therefore, let's talk about financial strength. Warning signs or signs of financial weakness. What do you think of in terms of the financial strength of McDonald's?
The total assets are slowly going up, but the liabilities are increasing as well.
Your liabilities are way up. Anyone worried about that? Liabilities increasing?
I would say so.
So one problem is the increase in liabilities. Anything to make you feel better about it, though?
The increase in buying back stock.